Ta-da! We're here with another hand of the week from Courtney, still having some fun, enjoying poker, and hopefully learning a thing or two. Today, you will have a chance to do this as well, and Courtney shared an interesting hand which she played in one of her tournaments. So without talking much, let's just jump into the action and see what it brings us. It gets folded around to the cutoff, who raises, and Courtney decides to call. I do think this is perfectly fine action. I justify calling a little bit more than free betting, even though you could be considering it as well if you have some dynamics with your opponent and know something about him. However, as a standard, calling this hand is absolutely fine. Both blinds folds, and with this a flop, which is reasonably good to us. I think it's pretty okay, don't you think so? So we're pretty excited to see how our opponent proceeds, but we really need to take in consideration our whole range, not just the cards that we have. So our opponent bets and Courtney calls. So let's talk about this a little bit. Firstly, this range, your range, really hit this board. You have a lot of good hands. You have two pairs, you have some sets like nines, maybe you even calling jacks if the blinds are aggressive and you want them to squeeze, or a special big blind that could be shoving as well in some cases if he's overly aggressive, or even not. So you definitely have a lot of strong hands. You have basically all two pairs as well for the suited hands. So your range is pretty strong. That means your opponent should not be bluffing a ton and should not be continuing with naked hands. Therefore, I really see some arguments for raising as well. Moreover, there will be many action killer cards like clubs, 10, king, 8, that even if you are ahead, obviously you are ahead right now, but even if you will be ahead on these runouts, you're not very likely to get any money in from your opponent if he does not have a made hand. Therefore, I really think that probably raising here is fine. Your opponent should have a lot of one pair hands with gut shots, maybe with flush draws, maybe even two pair hands as well, some over pairs. Well, all of these hands that he's probably not going to fold, even though he should some of the time. People are not willing to let go of these strong hands. Therefore, I probably would be looking to build the pot and raise right now, just not to lose any potential of earning more money in the long run by just calling and letting him improve or see the additional card for free. As we said, the most important part here to consider is his range. If his range is similar to what we said, obviously raising makes a lot of sense. If you think that your opponent is way too aggressive and bluffs a ton, barrels a lot, then calling is absolutely fine. You don't get me wrong, it will depend on your opponent a little bit. However, as a standard, I do think I would prefer raising to calling, but obviously both options are fine. Well, please just don't fold this hand. It's a little bit too strong for folding, so I'm not going to debate that. However, calling and raising is close. I'm still preferring raising a little bit. So continuing further, we call and our opponent bets again. Okay, great. So you have another chance to raise. Even though on the flop it was close, I do think right now he's going to have very few bluffs in his range and you can attack that aggressively. Obviously, he's going to have few of these bluffs, but you're going to win much more from his walla hands by raising right now and getting it in, which is pretty likely to happen comparing his whole range. Even though few of the times he folds his random like ace, X hands, whatever he could have as a bluff, it's pretty hard to figure out what hands actually he could be bluffing here because the board is so good for your range that I really think you're going to get way more walla by raising and getting it in. However, in this spot, we're going to proceed by just calling as well, and we hit a 10 where opponent bets. Okay, let's slow this down a little bit. While on the flop calling was okay, as I said, on the turn for same reason, for same ranges, he's going to have a lot of two pair hands, a lot of sets, a lot of pair plus gut shot plus flush draws, even a hand like if he has something like ace 10, he could just call you down and you deny his equity by raising on the turn. Therefore, I really think this is a spot where you could get some additional wallet. Obviously, as played, this is a pretty easy shove on the river. Courtney does that, and opponent calls. To our big surprise, he shows ace king. This is sick. I would never put a hand like that in his barreling range because it just makes no sense. If you ever be in this spot where you have some unbelievably crazy line by your opponent, which is obviously pretty bad, take a note about that. Write down that he barrels ace king on this run out, and it will be a good indication that you could easily be calling this hand instead of raising, as we discussed before. However, this is by far more an exception than a rule, in my opinion, and you really would gain more money in the long run by raising this hand on the turn or on the flop. But on the flop is close, as we said. You can call, you can raise, but on the turn, I think this is a must raise, and you really want to get it in and realize your equity with the hand, while there are many action killers and your opponent is very, very unlikely to hand a hand like ace king, the hand that he does have here. Therefore, always consider the whole range. However, if you have some idea how your opponent plays, like this one, next time when you are against this guy, and already have a note in this exact spot, I would be just calling down and letting him bluff, because it looks like he's over bluffing a ton. So remember, just versus different players, to keep solid strategies and you will be good. For more analysis and hand videos, visit my channel, and I guess we will talk soon.